sore. It just was, it's hard to see. So that's why my eyes are all glazed over. I'm squinting all the time. So from here on out, I'm just going to have to go by the way of the Big Lebowski. Alright guys, welcome back. Okay, we have our painting here. We're in the overpainting stage. Got the background perfect. I mean, we did a black and white underpainting, and then we glazed it with ultramarine blue, which is really transparent. So you can see that white showing up. That gives it a nice tone. And what we're going to do now is we're going to do the overpainting of the skull. So right now the skull is in its middle painting state, which is like the middle tone. And what we're going to do is we're going to put shadow in it, or push it back with shadow and pull it out with highlight. Alright, so it's like we're grabbing the image and going, stretching it out, giving it some dimension. So the first thing we want to do is put the shadow. Alright, then the last thing we're going to do is do the highlight. And to do the shadow, let me see, I like using a small brush. Let me see. I can find it. Here it is. Okay, we have a small square, if you can see it. Small square, small flat. All right, and we have a number 2 and a number 1. This is bristle, which I prefer using this step, and synthetic, which is softer, not as good, but you can still use it, But the normal convention is that the smaller the number, the brush size, like a 1 and a 2, smaller the number, the smaller the brush. Alright, so if this is a 1, this is a 2, then why is this one a whole lot bigger? Well, it's because it's only within the manufacturer's set of brushes where the numbers make sense. So if you get 2 number 5s, 2 different manufacturers, that would do 2 different sizes, 2 different kinds of 5s, I guess. Same thing with the rest of the lineup. Alright, so I'm going to start with this one though. I like the way this gives a little bit more coverage. Or I could do this one for like tighter areas. Save that on the side. Alright. And I'm going to use some burnt umber, right, to darken it up because it's in the browns, a gold brown. And golden metallic. Yeah. And I already poured both in here on my plate using the same one. Don't throw these away, keep using them. The paint dries fast, it does. We've got burnt umber here and the gold here. All right. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this base color, that gold. All right, I'm going to load my brush with it. And I'll pick up this, well, just then dirty it a little bit with that umber. So I make a darker version of that same gold, right? A little bit darker. And use very little paint though. And just kind of like come in here and just paint that area right here. Follow this line right there, right? Right along that edge. So it's like a shadow area, right? Very little paint, you just kind of scrape it in there. There are, if I remember, in fact, you can even look at the picture. I mean, it's a reference, might as well use it, right? We'll pull up the picture here. My phone. There you go. Yeah. Okay, this is the picture. And you can see the shadows actually will cover this entire eye. So it looks like it's actually coming up like so. It's actually in this eye right here, and then it comes in then down, right? Using very little paint. It's kind of like a stain. You know what I mean? That goes here. Let me see. Pick up a little bit more. Define that a little bit better. Same thing here. Let's see. There you go. That makes that eye jump out a little bit more. And then we have actually with this forehead right here, we got like this big old split. We like go ahead, just put like a little faint line there as a reminder. Get it as centered as you can. It's not going real centered, but put some more. We'll define that better another time. But that's to show it's there. And it's got one here. It's got one there. Yeah, a little bit of shadow here. It's like because it's concaved. I can see it underneath that eye, right? Just put a little shadow there. All right, right above these noses right here, there's like a little crack. Wherever there's a crack, go ahead and put a line there. Could be like the shadow around the crack. Then mix some more of that paint, the golden royal gold, and some little bit of burnt umber to darken it, keeping it in the browns. This here I want it actually a little bit darker. It's hard to see from this angle, but I got it. Alright, these are real faint shadows just to define the shape. There's a little shadow right underneath that eye. Come back around like so. Alright. And let me see, coming back up. There's like something here, like a little thing right there. I guess where the bone comes out a little bit. Could be like a little shadow there. Right? Let me see. Where else? Oh, light's coming this way, right? So the rest of it, actually I can just do it from the top of my head. Basically. So, a little of that gold, or a lot of that gold, and a little bit of that umber. Right? Use very little paint, because I know there's like a shadow here, right? The light's coming this way, so I'm going to stick that shadow right along this edge, right? And then a little shadow underneath here. Light's coming around, so this entire side back here. I'm going to wet this brush down a little bit and make it a little bit thinner, make it easier to move too. Make that a little darker maybe. Let's see. Yeah. Don't use a whole lot. Alright, I know there's a shadow here. Right? Shadow here. Go straight across, a shadow right there. Kind of scratch it into the middle tone. Right? Pick up some more of that. There's like, you got some like little ridges here. There's like a ridge there. There's like a right around that folded over piece of that leather right there. Let's see. And there's a light's coming this way, so there's a shadow here, right? Something like that. Right underneath here. There's a ridge right there, ridge right there. Wherever there's a ridge, wherever there's like a shape that curves around, you just, where it's tucked in, the light won't reach, put a little bit of shadow right there. That'll help give it some dimension. Alright, this is just the first step. We're going to come back and make it a little darker in places. shadow underneath here, right? Shadow here, a little darker. Should turn on my other light so I can see better. And of course, shadow here. Lights come down, right? And you can kind of like dry brush that, or scumble, we call it, right? And that goes there. Okay. All right. Cleaner brush, and I'm going to get. This is a number 5 round brush. Alright, it's nice and pointy. It's not real skinny, but it holds paint, but it's pretty pointy. If it's a different brand, different kind manufacturer, their number 5 might be bigger or smaller, just whatever works for you. You know, if one feels like you can't control it, maybe go a step smaller. You might want to use a 4. 4s are pretty good. Get some good lines out of 4s. Right? Okay. What I want to do is I want to pick up some of that burnt umber by itself. Right? That's by itself. Here, let me show you. When you load the paint, look, that's a mess. You pull the brush and you turn it as you pull it to get that nice sharp tip right there. But right where this crack is, I'm going to go ahead and kind of like tickle in a little, just using a very tip, barely touching on it. You got like that little crack going through there. Just real faint. Right, same thing here. It's a little tiny like cracks. Let's see, got that one there. There. Real faint. You know. Might be something here. Alright. And you can darken up areas like right underneath that eye. Ooh, make it a little darker. Right. And you can like darken it right here along this eye. And that will make it jump forward. And just lightly tap it into that other dark head. I'm going to darken this. It'll sink it back. When you make it, the darker it is, the more it sinks it back, right? Something like that. Nice little detail there, right? The darker it is, the more it sinks back. So you can actually put like little lines and stuff here and there. This is where it really becomes important. It's right here on this edge. Go ahead with pure burnt umber, which is a dark brown. And you just kind of like find those little folds. There you go. Same thing here. That very edge, you want it dark. Really throw it around, throw it back. All right, and you got that really deep shadow right here. All right. Back up, let's go straight across. All right. Okay, you just darken in these areas. Where are these little? We got these little flaps. Go ahead and darken in these edges like so. All right. That bring it out. And on this side, same thing. You got these little crevices, those little round things. Give it some dimension. The shadow under here, right? Light's coming down. Same thing here. You want it dark there. It'll show against that black and blue. Alright, dark here, a little bit more sienna, a little bit more burnt umber right along this edge. You're just defining edges now where the light would cast a little bit of shadow. Yeah, so and so. There's an edge here. We got some shadow cast there. Let's see. A little darker there. Alright. Wet the brush. I'll pick up some black. Alright. Probably right in the middle. See, when you have like these little lines, put them in the center, but leave that like the outer edges, that brown. You know, just right here in the middle. Just you don't put too much. Just a little. It gives a little extra. Something like that. A little black there. Use very little black. You're just touching it up, right? Maybe some right there, yeah. A little more there. A little bit back. Just like a little bit. Here, I think there's one there. That'll bring in that cheek looking thing. Yeah, one here, one there, something like that. One there. Just using black thinned with water. Alright, here we go. And we're just like very little. Alright. Just very little. Wherever you think there's a shadow protruding, probably not there. Let's see. We know there's one here, one there, one there, one there. There's a little bit of black here. I'll push it back. Don't take too much off. That'll help define it. In fact, you might want to maybe just leave a little line here of color. Could be like a reflected light or something. Just wherever the creases are at. A little bit of black. Not a whole lot, very little. Alright? Okay. Now that's it for the shadow. So we pushed it in. Now we got some form and definition. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a little white, right? White. Not a whole lot. You don't need a whole lot. I'm going to pick up some of this white and a little bit of that gold. All right. So now I got a real light version of it, white and gold. All right. So it's lighter. Alright, and we're going to highlight this gold on this top part right here. Right here. Go around this way. We've got light coming, right? Yeah. Kind of scratch it in there. You know, it is tearing out that gold. You know, this is a work in progress, right? I think I'm going to just leave that gold. Because the white doesn't have that metallic. And it's pasty looking. It's taken, I like that gold underneath. So, it's one thing about painting, especially acrylic, that if the color isn't quite right or something don't look good to you, you can change it. Because all you have to do is just let it dry and just paint right over it, and it dries fast. If it's oil, then you have to scrape it off or let it dry, you know. It's a lot harder to, or just paint right over it, wet on, if it's wet on wet. But I'm going to let that dry. I'm going to put gold back over there. I want to start on this ochre, this yellow ochre, which actually was, I'm going to use yellow as the highlight color. Right? Oh, I might have put too much. It didn't sound good. Alright. So pick up that yellow and a little bit of that white. That white's mainly to make it a little bit opaque because that yellow is super transparent. And I'm not going to use a whole lot of it. Alright. Alright, so this horn area right here on top, I'm just put a little highlight here. Just kind of give a little oomph, a little white. So I'm thinking about how the light's hitting it on this angle. And I guess it'll hit this top area right here, right? That's the top. Same thing over here. I just make it just jump, right? Same thing here. Top edge, follow it around. Because it, you know, it has a round curve, so you can follow it wherever you think the light's hitting it. Right here, maybe. All right. And of course, this horn got light hitting it. Let's see. Want that to look brighter. All right. Yeah, just a little bit of light in that yellow. Hit it. All right. Might be a little bit too. Now, a lot of times you just wipe off the brush, right? And you go in here with a dry brush and just kind of work it in. If you kind of give it like and when it dries, it dries darker too over that. All right. All right. So we got that. That's that highlighted. I think it could be maybe a little brighter. Let's see. Some places a little bit more white. In fact, a lot more white. Here we go. Alright. Let's see if that makes it a little bit even brighter. You can just like dab it. Here, I'm going to try this. How about just white? Let's see. Yeah, I'll mix in a little bit with that color. Might have to let it dry first, then we can add like a sparkle, which is alright. Okay. And then we're going to get into this burnt sienna. Hopefully I have enough. If not, I have to use the umber. Yes. That didn't sound good either. Okay. Alright, we're going to paint in fact, I'm going to change my brush. Alright. And I'm going to get me that number 2 I was looking at. Okay. So highlight for that burnt sienna would be like a kind of like a reddish brown. Oh, that's what I'll do. I don't know, that'd be like a dark or something. I might add a little bit of red in it. Alright, let's see. Definitely gotta use white, right? A little bit of burnt sienna. That's the same color as underneath it, but a lot of white. Alright. And we can warm it up with a little bit of red, maybe. Burnt sienna, just a little bit of red. Kind of made it a little pinkish. Alright. I'm going to give it some light right here. The light's going right. So at the top, I'm kind of hit these little things here. There you go. I like that. One of you beeped at me. Which one was it? Anyways, I'm going to apply the highlight here at the top. And then come down. Right? and just let it get darker and darker. Yeah, use lots of white. Let's see what I do with it. There it is. All right, right here. I'm not going to that blue. I'm going around it. See, there's the highlight. Right here, right, and right here, right. Watch out for those little red things. So you just kind of scratch it. Let the paint come off your brush, so it's very little, and you just kind of like scratch at it a little bit. It also gives it some texture, you know. Come around here, yeah. So like that. And check this out. Wipe off your brush. Then you go into that burnt sienna you had. Straight burnt sienna. And you just work it back into it. Here's the dark. Put the dark right back into it. Alright, put some dark in here. Then you wipe off all the excess. And you kind of scratch at these two and just kind of let them mingle. Yeah. Pick up some more of that highlight. Burnt sienna. Lots of white. Mainly white, but some burnt sienna to tone it down a little bit. And we got light here, right? It's hitting that top edge, coming around. Right? You just kind of like scratch at it as you go down. Wipe off the excess on a towel. And just kind of scratch at it. You can go back into that burnt sienna and work it back in there. Just work it into it. Dry your brush or wipe off all the excess and just kind of like scratch at it some more. Right. Okay. Same thing on the other side. Some white, burnt sienna. Oop, too much burnt sienna, more white. Okay. Actually put a little red in it. Come across, the light's hitting it. Right there, right? Light's coming over this way, and as it goes around it'll darken. Right? So bring this down, wipe off the excess, and just kind of like dry brush it, scumble into the burnt sienna. You can pick up some of that burnt sienna, work it back into it. Right? Something like so. Let's see. Yeah, I lost. Hopefully it's still recording. Okay, here we go. Still working it. Pick up that white burnt sienna again. Right on this edge here. Got that light hitting it. Got some little things. Oops. The light hit it right up the top here, right on the edge. Bring it forward. There we go. And let the paint disappear off your brush and just use it to kind of scumble. A little scratch, just scraping at it. It's kind of it's a dry brush technique. Alright, some more of that white, burnt sienna. Oops, right up here. Okay. if you want. Wipe off the brush, go right back into your burnt sienna, and kind of tickle it. Come back down here, get some texture. Yeah, that'll work. Okay, now this is dry, so I want to redo that. So while I got this gold on my palette, let me get me a smaller brush. This is a 1/2 inch flat brush. I wet it down, but I want the brush dry and get all that water off it. The water just softens it a little bit. I'm going to pick up that gold. Still got some on my palette. Alright. And paint back over this. I can't believe that white did that. So I want this gold to just jump. It's metallic. It's got a glitter to it. It's kind of glittery. You know what I mean? Real glittery. One thing about this being a work in progress is that you can see me just change things, you know, and make choices and decisions. Because that's all painting is. It's you put paint on the canvas and you either like it or you don't, so you change it. And I'm just filling in some of this gold in some of these areas, because that underpaint was a little thin at places. Might need some more paint. Let's see. Yeah. Especially up here. Yeah, looking a little better. Can't believe we lost that goldenness so fast. I want to keep that gold. I like gold. Alright. Okay, that's fine. Alright. I'm going to do a couple more things. I'm going to grab that blue I had. I believe this is it. Tropical blue. Yeah. I'll make that blue a little bit, have a little bit more punch. So stick a little bit back on my palette. And I'm going to use this number 5 round brush. Pick up that blue. Blue. And I'm just going to give it a little extra blueness. A little extra blue. Just cover up the canvas behind it. Some of these colors could be pretty thin, and you might need like a second coat just to make it jump, you know. Same thing with that red. I got a little bit of red on my palette here. Load that bad boy up. And I want this red of these little triangle pieces here to jump out a little bit more. You know? So jump out a little bit. And when it does go over like the shadow, since the red's transparent, it'll automatically darken right there. Right? Come on, Red. Get off that brush. Okay, just a little bit of red. And this eye, this eye needs to be really red, so I'm really going to put a good solid coat there. And this will be red, but it's in shadow, but it'll show through, and that shadow will automatically darken it. I don't want that red as obvious. This is like, okay. Awesome. I cleaned that number 5 round. I'm gonna pick up some more of this black. Needs to be thin, so I wet it with a lot of water. Not too much water, but so it'll flow off the brush a lot easier. I'm going to add some more black in some areas, like this right here needs to be defined. Wherever you need it to just define itself. Like this edge right here. You just a little this edge right here. Right. This edge right here. This one. I'm gonna make it jump. There we go. Something like that. Try to keep it thin. A little shadow piece that's in between here. Won't take much. These are still there. Maybe to find this edge a little bit more. Something like so. Yeah? I don't know, what do you think? See, I want to sign this and oh, I know, that other blue. Yeah, that blue right there. That's when it's signing it. Blue. And you get this extra blue in there. Cool. Probably this side is darker, yeah. Sign over here. I'm just loading up the blue on my script liner and I thinned it down just enough so it'll flow off the brush. But yeah, check out my Patreon page. Become a member. And I got free downloads. I got how-to stuff. I got videos that'll be only exclusive there. You can a bunch of high-resolution images of my paintings, including this one. That'll be there. You could download and get printed at a Sam's or a local Walmart, something like that. Hearst. Signatures could be anything. Your last name, full name, a mark, an X, drawing, whatever symbolizes you. You know, but it's good to keep it consistent with all your paintings, pretty much. Change it up a little bit, maybe down the line. But I normally just do my last name. Like here's right here, it's Hearst, like a little H. Yeah, load up the brush. I pretty much load up the brush with every letter. A U, and an R, and an S. Don't make it too big or too obvious, right? And my T. You can date it if you want. I normally, sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Lately I have been, only because I'm getting old, you know. But was it 21? Here we go. Hell of a year. 21. There we go. This is Bull Skull. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, check out my website, herstopresto.jimdo.com, and check out my Patreon. It's patreon.com/herstopresto. And my first $500 amount that I get, it's like crowd sharing. I get me new laptop and new stuff, and so I make these videos better. You know, just using a couple of tiny camcorders and an i3 laptop. But anyways, thanks for being here. I'll check you out next time. Later, Gator. Oops. There's no feathers.